since there's so much information, there's a lot of properties on different pictures. What I would suggest to you to study is to get little note cards. That would be my suggestion. Get maybe little, what are they called? Index cards. And then on the front, you can put the word. You can put like today and tomorrow we're doing parallelograms. So you can put parallelograms, and on the back you can put the 5 properties. So there's 5 different properties for them. It's the one that it has a lot of them. So, and then you can just kind of test yourself. So if you want to put a 5 in parentheses on the front to let you know you need all 5, and then later you can erase that 5 once you get a little better at it. But I would suggest doing the flashcards for yourself to kind of test yourself, because I think there's 7 pictures. So once we start, they're all going to start to run together. So as soon as we start with these, I would start quizzing yourself every day. Make sure you know your vocab as we go, because we'll be learning a different picture. Sometimes we'll learn 2 pictures in a day. Okay, so that's what I would suggest for helping you to study and memorize all of your terms. Do them frontwards and backwards. So also look at the back with the properties, read the properties, be able to tell me what kind of picture it is. Okay, so parallelograms, they look like this. What a parallelogram is a quadrilateral. Quad means 4, so we got 4 sides. And then the definition is you've got opposite sides parallel. So this side and this side are parallel. Sometimes they mark that. They'll either mark that with little arrows like this, or sometimes they'll use little triangles like this. So this would show me that I have 2 sets of parallel sides, because one of the IXLs will say, is this enough information to show it's a parallelogram? If you have something like this, yes. You need both though. Opposite sides are parallel, so you need both sets of opposite sides to be parallel for it to be a parallelogram. Okay? Now there's a lot of info here, so you can pause it and write as we go, as I talk about it. So that was your definition. Opposite sides are parallel. Then my next one here, this is a property. It's actually the definition, but any one of these 5 things will make something a parallelogram. So this first one here, opposite sides are congruent. That just means like this. So like a rectangle, if you think of it like that. So left and right are congruent, top and bottom are congruent. That's all that means. Number 2, I have in blue there, it says opposite angles are congruent. So A and C, they're opposites. They'll be equal, and B and D are opposites, so they'll be congruent. So that's what I have in blue. In green, I have consecutive angles equal 180. Sometimes it says supplementary, same thing. Some people don't know what this word is. So consecutive means side by side, so one after another. Like consecutive numbers are 8 and 9, or 11 and 12. So they're just basically side by side, like angles A and B. So they're side by side, they're consecutive. So these 2 would add up to 180. B and C are consecutive. They add up to 180. C and D are consecutive, 180. And A and D are consecutive, 180. So if they're just next to each other, if one angle is next to the next angle, then those are consecutive. They equal 180. And in red down at the bottom, I have diagonals bisect. Diagonals, I think I mentioned in the last unit, is when you go corner to corner. That's a diagonal. So all parallelograms have 2 diagonals that can be drawn. Bisect means they cut each other in half. So it doesn't mean that all 4 are equal, but that they cut each other in half. So these 2 would be equal, and those 2 will be equal. So those are your 5 properties. That's what we're going to be sticking with today and tomorrow. So know them inside and out, because we're going to start adding a lot of pictures and a lot of properties. So anytime, one of the IXLs, if you have 2 sets of opposite angles that are equal, then yes, it's a parallelogram. If you have consecutive angles equal 180, then yes, it'll be a parallelogram. So they'll give you these properties. You have to decide whether or not it's a parallelogram. The other IXL has to do with numbers. So this is what you're going to see most of your problems like. There'll be more along the lines of these easier ones down here at the bottom, but you'll also see things like this on quizzes and tests, not so much in the IXL though, because it's so busy. So what you want to do is, since we know it's a parallelogram, which will usually tell you in directions that I didn't write, then you know that the opposite sides are congruent, the opposite sides are parallel, but this has to do with all angles. So you're looking for opposite angles are congruent. So that means this 55-degree angle is equal to this over here. So that's the first thing I saw. Therefore, if I know that this is 55 and this is 55, to get angle 9, I can just do this. So that'll give me 30 for 9. Okay, then you can do alternate interiors, because remember, these are parallel, and this is my transversal right here. So you can have alternate interior angles. So angle 4 is 25. And 9 and 5 are going to be the same. So since 9 was 30, that makes 5 30. Okay, so that's one thing I used. Next thing I can use is, since I also know I'm going to put these two are going to be equal to each other. Okay, so that makes this part's easy. Angle 1 is 75. Those are also alternate interior angles. Now, the problem comes with we got to figure out 7 and 2. We know they're equal, but we don't know what they are. But we found out before that consecutives equal 180. So this 55-degree angle and this entire green angle are going to equal 180. So if I do 180 minus 55, that's going to give me 125. So that's this entire green angle. So then if I take away the 75, that's going to give me angle 7. Okay, so that's going to give me about 50 degrees for angle 7. And then, so we also know that 2 is 50. Okay, so that's my second part. Now the third part's getting the ones in the middle. So yes, I know they have diagonals, but diagonals are the side, kind of like side lengths like that. So this is talking about angles in there. So with this one, this comes from past knowledge. In other words, we have these 3 angles right here, or this triangle, I mean. So these 3 angles inside this triangle. And we already found that 5 was 30 degrees. And we have this one at 75. So to get a third angle in a triangle, we just subtract from 180. So that's going to give me 75. These don't always match. That's just a lucky coincidence. So angle 6 is 75 degrees. And then I've got vertical angles. So all the stuff we've been learning all year, it just keeps coming. It just keeps applying to everything. So vertical angles are opposites in an X. They're always equal. And then another thing that we learned all year was when you have 2 angles that make a straight line, this is a linear pair. So they equal 180. So to get angle 3, you could do this. Of course, you could use this triangle as well and subtract from 180. This is just quicker in my mind. So 180 minus 75 is going to give you 105 for angle 3. And then vertical angles are equal. So is angle 8. Okay. These are the more types that you'll see in your IXL. These are a little easier just because it's only 2 things to solve for. So these are side lengths when they're written like this in the middle of the side. Opposite sides are congruent, so 8y equals 88. And these are angles. They're not consecutive, so I'm not going to use 180. They're opposites, so opposites equal. There's your X, there's your Y. Over here, I've got angles, so you're either using consecutives or you're using opposites or equal. So these 2 opposites being equal won't work because I got an X and a Y. So I'm going to have to do consecutive. These 2 right here are side by side, so they are consecutive. I don't want to use these because, again, that's an X and a Y. So consecutives add up to 180. And then X is going to give you 10. This gives you 18 divided by 18 gives you 10. Now that I know that this is 10, I can plug it in. So now opposites are congruent. So 3y is equal to 120. You could have also plugged it in over here. So if you did that and you ended up with 60, you could have said 3y plus 60 equals 180. You get the answer the same way. It's fine. But y is 40. Okay, again, number 3 are side lengths. Opposites are equal. This one doesn't help me because I got an X and a Y, but this does. So 3x equals 150, or 30, sorry, X equals 150. So if you divide 5, you get 5 for your X. And then that'll help you with these. So if I plug that in right here, that's going to give me 360. And now we can do opposites are equal. So 2y is equal to 360. So y is 180. Over here, these are diagonals. Keep in mind that they only bisect. So those 2 are the equal ones, and these 2 are the equal ones. So the 3x equals 12, and the 4y equals 8. Okay? 5 is probably the trickiest of them all. So the reason why 5 is tricky is because this one would be equal to this one, which I don't know. And then this one would be equal to that one, which I don't know. So I'm going to start with the x down here. It says that this is equal to that. So what I have here is 3 angles inside of a triangle. So that's where I'm going to start with this one. So here's my right, and it's a right triangle, which will be important later. So I have this right triangle right here. So those 3 angles in there are going to add up to 180. So I've got 3x, 3x, and 90. So that's going to give me 6x equal to 90. That's going to end up being 15. Okay, so if x is 15, that's going to help me with some other things. First of all, if I plug it back in, 3 times 15 is 45. So this is a 45, 45, 90 degree triangle, which I know I said trig went away, but of course you're going to apply things like that. So this is z, z, and z square root of 2. Of course, in this one, you can use decimals. I'm fine with that. If you use the decimal, though, you got to use the entire decimal. So if z is 12, then this side right here is 12 square root of 2. So now I know what to set the 2y equal to. Okay, so you either get 6 square root of 2, or if you times that in your calculator, round it to the nearest tenth for me for the y. Okay, and then after that, we can that's all we need to figure out. We needed x and y, and that's it. So the 12 only helped me figure out the y. All right, over here, if here's what this is telling me. Since the direction said this is a parallelogram, that's equal to that, and that is equal to that. Now, since they showed me these two are equal, that means all 4 are equal. Okay, so that was just extra info. So 2y is equal to 28. So if it tells you it's a parallelogram, then you can take into account all 5 of the properties. Okay, and then since they're all equal, then the 4x in this case, the 4x can also equal to 28, but only because they gave me those 2 marks can we do that. So this is going to give me 7. Now the last two, they won't give you a picture, so sometimes you got to make your own picture. So if they give you a parallelogram, just go in order. It doesn't matter if you go clockwise with your letters like this, or if you go A, B, C, D, it doesn't matter, but you have to go in order. However they go, you have to go clockwise or counterclockwise around your picture, labeling it. So they said AB is 2x plus 5. Measure BAC, that means you have to make yourself a diagonal. So BAC is 2y. And then they give you angle B is 120. And then they give you CAD, this one down here, which is 21. And then they give you this side, which is also 21. This is 21 degrees, though. This is 21 in length. So opposites are equal, so that red stuff is going to help me find my x value. So if I subtract 5 from the 21, that's going to give me 16. So x is 8. And then for the blue stuff with the angles, since B is 120, that makes all of A 60, okay? Because these consecutives add up to 180. So that means these two together will give me 60. So that means 2y and 21 is going to equal 60. So if I subtract the 21 from the 60, that's going to give me 39. And y is 19.5. Yes. Okay, so make yourself a picture so that you can draw in what they ask. You don't have to. If you can do it in your head, it's fine. But I would suggest using a picture. Okay, and then our last one for today. Again, I've got A, B, C, D, so however you want to do it. My picture's in the way. All right, and then it says it has diagonals AC and DB that intersect at point P. So they're just telling you this point right here is P. All right, now it tells you that AP is 3A and 18. 3A and 18. AC is, the whole thing is 12A. So I'm not going to mark that because I don't want to put the whole thing. And then PB up here is A and 2B. And then PD PD is this little one over here is 3B and 1. And then they want you to find AB, and they also want you to find the entire diagonal here, DB. So what I need to do, first of all, is I need to figure out either A or B. Now, this one has A and B in it, so I don't really want to mess with that. Okay, what I want to do is I want to use this whole thing. So keep in mind that this one and this one are going to be equal. So that 3A and 18 will also be here. That's going to help me because they gave me AC. They gave me the entire thing as 12A. So I'm going to add these two little ones, 3A and 18, or you can times it by 2 if you want. And 3A and 18 is going to give me the entire diagonal, which is 12A. So if I do that, subtract the 6A from 12A, and then divide. So there's A. Now I got to put that A right here. So I need to plug that in. This says A plus 2B. So that means I've got 6 plus 2B right there. So if I have that, now I've only got one letter. So 6 and 2B is going to be equal to the 3B and 1. That's going to help me find B. So in that case, subtract your 2B, subtract 1, and there's B. Last thing they want me to find is DB. So the entire thing. So if I do the entire thing, what I can do is just plug in my letters. So if B is 5, that's 10, this is 16. And then, of course, this should be 16. So if I plug in 5 here, that's 15 plus 1 is 16. So the whole thing is 16 and 16. So DB, the length of DB is 32.